Good morning, everybody. Very, very happy to have you all here. I'm very thankful to Enna for having put that together very quickly, because we were initially not necessarily thinking about organizing such a final event, but it's happening. So it's great to have everybody around. Hi, for those who haven't seen yet. We'll start with a very short introduction from me, and then you we'll move on to the rest of the agenda. There will be some keynotes, there will be some panels, there will be some demonstrations. So we have a variety of things today. I hope most of it will be very interactive and very engaging for you. So we'll see. We'll see how that happens. Could I have the first slides, please? And is there like a remote to? Yeah, perfect. Yeah. This is a picture some of you might remember. Today is the final event, so it's a bit of the end of a journey for the project. This was actually the first physical event we had. It was in March last year at the ENA conference. First workshop we had with our KeyCop members. You can recognize some of the partners, some of the KeyCop members. So yeah, about basically a year and a half ago. So it took a long time because, of course, we started during COVID times, but we finally had that physical event. And so it's great to see some of the same faces today at the end of this small journey. So today, just to give you a sense of what... Good? Yeah, perfect. There you go. And should I point somewhere in particular? There, okay, yeah. Thank you. So today, just to give you a sense of the big objectives of the day, I tried to use, we are one of the capitals of comic books, comic arts in Brussels. So I would like to share with you some pictures. This is not working. Are you sure it's working? Oh, the green one, sorry. So one of the things we want to do is show you the solutions we came out with at the end of the present those solutions and discuss with you those solutions, right? So that's part of the objective is, I mean, many of you are familiar with some of our results, but we have improved them over this past year and a half, and hopefully you'll find them interesting, useful, more useful than what Gaston created here. This is from Franquin, one of the pioneers in comic books from Belgium. Of course, we want to celebrate. We are fairly, proud of our results, but we also want to have you help us reflect on what we have done and make sure that we are not over enthusiastic and realize the gaps, realize the shortcomings maybe of what we have done. And the last thing we want to do also today is that we want to hope it's a discovery for some of you that topics that you don't necessarily discuss all the time in your own organizations and that you will learn, but also that we'll look forward to potential futures together. So those are the big objectives of the day. What I'd like to do is to also mention that we will use some interactive means. So if you have laptops and your cell phones, etc., we'll use Mentimeter a couple times. So we'll start right now. Could I have the screen, please? Yes. Thank you. So this will serve as a small example and getting everybody ready to use Mentimeter. So once I'll wait a couple seconds. Or you can go to menti.com and put this code as well. All right, let's see. Not very complicated questions to start with, okay? the first one is, I think some of you met yesterday, but not everybody necessarily has met everybody, so give you a sense of where we all come from. You can see the code as well. Yeah, up there. Yeah. Okay, who's Arizona, Amsterdam? Is that you, Nathan? I don't think this exists. Are you talking New Amsterdam? Right, so we have, of course, a lot of European countries represented. Great. The second question is just to give a sense of the kind of people, the kind of organizations represented also. Right, so unsurprisingly, I think academia research organizations are highly represented, but you can see also a variety of types of organizations. So this is, what we have also tried to do with KickUp is to have those kinds of different perspectives represented of different stakeholders, essentially, around the kind of questions we're interested in. I'm curious who has written other, who has selected other, and who could tell me? Don't be shy. Okay, yeah, let's see. Yeah, I work in IT. In IT, okay, yeah. Any other? Okay, so just for information, this is a friendly crowd here, so it's don't be afraid. Okay, so I just wanted to give you a sense, and then we'll just move on. I didn't want to take so much time for the introduction, and we have a first keynote from Johan Verschaeve, who's a member of KickUp, and we'll discuss basically some of his activities in the Belgian police. So thanks a lot.
Thank you, Matthieu. You have the remote. Oh, sorry. Thank you. So, welcome. Bonjour, welcome, bienvenue, welcome. You have 3 languages in Belgium. You also already know this. Oh, yes, thank you. Welcome in Brussels also, of course. Brussels, we are very known of famous Brussels because a lot of organizations are in Brussels, of course. Yeah. So if you have some complaints, you can demonstrate in Brussels. Everyone is demonstrating in Brussels. So a lot of work for the police, of course. It's a very open city, a very multicultural city. There are a lot of things happening in Brussels, a lot of very interesting things happening in Brussels. Sometimes bad things happen in Brussels also, but I think it's a city like another big city, and that's it. So we are also famous for a lot of things like our Belgian beer, of course, and or Belgian fries or French fries. We also say we invented the fries, Belgian fries, but maybe not. And the waffles, of course, if you come to Brussels, you have to eat waffles. And besides of the waffles, we also have chocolates, endless sorts of chocolates and pralines. So you have to try this, all very low calorie, low fat, very healthy foods, of course. That's something we are famous for. So for me, it started not with the police, but it started with the Red Cross. So this very nice old Volkswagen was the first thing I met when joining the Red Cross. And that was at the age of 16. So I stayed as a volunteer with the Red Cross from the age of 16. which was the legal age to join the Red Cross as an intervention team member. And I stayed there until the age of 35. So then there was no time left to do all this kind of hobbies and different things, but it was very interesting, a very interesting time. It all started with security, safety, so it was a first, it started really there, the interest in all the projects and all the things we are doing at this time. So during this time, a lot of bad things happened, like the Hazel Stadium. So if you remember this in Brussels, it's about, I think, 20 minutes from the place we are here. So at this football stadium, there was happening a very big disaster because there were two teams playing together, and at some point a lot of trouble broke out in the stadium, and about, I think, 39 people died during that football match. 400 people injured. It was a disaster. It was a disaster for the whole Belgian football, of course. It was also a disaster for a lot of emergency services and also the police in Belgium, because the organization was not so well after all. If we evaluated this and we look back to that time, well, it could be a lot better. We have a lot of new disaster management, crisis management nowadays, but when we look back at this, it was not so well organized. So, second thing that happened during the time I was a volunteer with the Red Cross was the Herald of Free Enterprise disaster in the harbor of Zeebrugge. A ship capsized and within 5 to 10 minutes, and 193 people died. Again, a lot of improvising. A lot of very young people volunteered with the Red Cross. They all were at the age 16, 17, 18 years old, and they came to this disaster. At first they thought it was some kind of exercise, and then they came to this disaster and to the site, and we did incredible things with these young volunteers. Sometimes, if you look back to it, you see people from 16 years who are working with the people who were injured, of course, but also with the dead people. They have to do everything a professional should do in such a case. So it was a very big eye-opener. And also, something you never forget, of course. If you look back to it, you can say, well, it went really well if you look at the way we had to do it, and also what kind of material, what kind of things we had at the time to cope with such a big disaster. So, but for me it was interesting because of the whole issue with, or the whole period as a volunteer. Helped me a lot in the coming time, of course. So then I started in the Belgian Police, not at the age of 16, but I'm already 16 years in the same unit. So I started in a police unit called Meetjesland Centrum. I'm still there, so it's situated between Bruges and Ghent. And we have a small part with the border with Holland. I'm a system administrator for 16 years also. I'm a chief information security officer, and I'm also a drone pilot. I work with drones from the early days of the drones. We are building the drones ourselves and that time. And I do also the digital forensics in second line for the police officers. And I'm also involved in the most of the innovation projects because we don't have an innovation manager, so I do most of the projects myself. So I will not give a lot of figures and facts for the Belgian Police. I will go on with some projects we did. So first of all, to enter, like to an H2020 project like Engage, you have to go to the chief of police, of course, you have to go to the DIRCOM, and you have to say, well, there's something new, new project, maybe it's interesting for the police. It's about resilience, it's about societal resilience. And then they are saying, well, what's this kind of thing about societal resilience? Is this something for the police? The fire department will say, well, is this something for the fire department? Will we cope with or work with volunteers? Is this something the police will do, no or not? So I split it to resilience, and I said, well, let's look at resilience first, and let's say, how resilient are we? If we are not resilient against cyber attacks, well, we cannot give advice, good advice to the people about cyber. It's the same for all the other forms of resilience. So to be part of the knowledge and innovation community, there's the KeyCOP, was a good thing because for us it was an eye-opener, because we have no experience with, or not a lot of experience with volunteers at all. So it was a good start for us to go further with this kind of thing. So then came COVID for us, the COVID pandemic. We are a small unit. We have about 110 people working there, and 85 people are operational people. So it's a 24/7 unit with 2 teams on the road, with 2 police vans on the road 24/7. So during the COVID pandemic, a lot of problems happened to stay 24/7 operational, of course, as a police unit. We still have to catch the bad guys, even in COVID or during COVID. We had some protection, but we also have the problem with disinfecting our police cells and all those kind of things. So it was not an easy period. So we had a lot of things to disinfect our own vans or police cells, all the material, but in a very short time it was finished. We could not find any disinfectant anymore. So they say, well, we have something that you can use. You can use something for industrial kitchens to clean, and maybe it will also work. And then they say, well, it's also finished. We cannot find any product more for industrial kitchens, but we have still a product that maybe will work, and it's to clean stables for horses. And you can use this for yourselves, and maybe it will work. So we said, yeah, okay. The people were complaining because they don't were safe anymore. They say, well, we have gloves, we have face shields, we have face masks, but how will we work for more weeks and months on this matter way without protection, enough protection? And we still have to work 24/7, and we still have to catch bad guys. So then came the plexi, and plexi everywhere, plexi, and until there was not even a single sheet of plexi left in the whole kingdom of Belgium. But everyone was complaining again and saying, what is this the way we are working now? What will happen the next? So we got some creative moments, and we say, well, let's start to think about this problem. And we designed this beauty ourselves. So we got some information about what can we do without products, what is interesting to do in disinfection. So we got information from a lighting company who said, well, you can use ultraviolet light and it will work. And you can check this with the markers on the walls, and you can put this kind of lamps inside your police cells. And then there is something like ozone. You can use ozone. It's a very strong disinfectant. You have no products. It's basically a high voltage, and it creates ozone. And we have proof, and you can measure this. And so we designed it. So we made a portable thing like this. It works on a battery. You can put it in the main socket. It loads the battery, and you put it in the police cell. It has an automatic program. It starts with 2 minutes doing nothing, because you have to leave the cell, of course. And if you're outside, then it starts with, I think, 10 to 15 minutes ultraviolet light. and then it stops, and then it goes to the production of ozone for 15 minutes, and then there is 40 minutes waiting time to get rid of the ozone and to let it go back to the state of oxygen. And then the green light on top goes on, and then they see this on the camera, and they can just put the thing away and put another bad guy in the police cell. That's the whole idea of this. This was a good thing during COVID, because we have to think about things, we have to be creative, and we have to produce something ourselves with the help of our logistic people, of course, and it worked. A lot of other bad things happen during and after COVID. If we look back to this period in time and we see what happened with children, a lot of violence within the families, a lot of sexual abuse also. So this went up like skyrocketed at sometimes, and we say, well, this will be a big problem for the future. Why is this happening now? Children cannot go to school anymore, so if they are in a difficult situation at home, it will go bad and bad and badder, and it will end so. What could we do about this? Well, we designed, together with the high school, a new room for the interview and interrogation of small children as a victim. Before, it was just an interview room like for adults, so they put just a small child for 4 or 5 years as a victim to the interview or interrogation. And well, we had this fancy words like triple helix model of innovation, and we already did some projects like this. So you have a university or a high school, you have us as a government or the police unit, and you have the industry, someone from the industry who wants to work together with us without having commercial benefits of it. So that's the whole idea of triple helix. It's a very fancy word, but when you do this in reality, it can give you very nice end results. So this was a very interesting one, because it was during and after the COVID period. We saw all these things happening, very bad things happening with children, and it went on and went on and went on. So we got this high school, Lucas School of Arts from Ghent. It's an artistic school and architectural school, and they designed a new room. So if you look at this one, this is the waiting room for the children, like it's in most police offices. This is still acceptable, but it's not okay. Most of them are just white rooms, like the other rooms we have in the police station, and they ended up with this. So the same room. They designed this especially for all the small children, and it was a very, very good result. So a lot of other police stations and units are coming to look at it, and will copy it. Before, it was just copy-paste of bad examples. So everyone was using this note from 10 years old, and on the note it must be a neutral room, it must be with a table and a camera. So that's not okay. So everyone was looking and say, okay, the same room. So they did this the same. That was the waiting room. They did the same for the actual interview room. Before, it looked like this, and now it looks like this. So there are no windows. There is simulated light. You have to see it real, and how it's in reality. It's a special lighting in the ceiling. So you see the sunlight, because it's all simulated. So you see the sky, I see the sunlight, even if there are no windows and there are no ceiling windows, there is nothing. So this was a very interesting project, because it was during a bad time and situation, and we got good results because we had to think about this. We also, and during that time, designed our own game, a game to go to schools with. It's life size. I think it's about 4 or 5 meters on 5 meters. And we go to the schools to give some instructions about cybersecurity, social media, bullying, phishing. So they made designed it in-house within the police unit. At the same time, we had to have all those kind of icons of the social media, and we couldn't find any of them. So we started with a 3D printer. So we bought a 3D printer, and we printed all the icons ourselves. Another program that we started was surveillance. It was a very interesting one. It's still running. It's the last year now. It's AI, and our first steps within AI. Officially, it calls alerts officials in real time using behavioral insights. So it can predict some abnormal behavior. That's the whole thing. So it's privacy by design. It's on live video footage. So we have all those video streams from the different security cameras. And the algorithm can detect abnormal behavior. So if you have a group who is cheering and happy and a group who is fighting, the algorithm can detect it. So everyone is blurred in the first stage automatically. And then everyone is reduced to this kind of stick man. So on this kind of stick figures, the skeletons, the algorithm is trying to decide what's the behavior, of trying to see what's the behavior. So they can detect fighting, they can detect at this moment, they can detect fighting, they can detect loitering. So if you go to a car, you go once or two times, or if you stay with the car, around the car, maybe you will break into the car at the end. So that are the kind of things they can detect. Also, they can detect bullying. If someone is in a corner and a whole group is pushing or stands around this person for a long time, it's maybe bullying. So it gives just an alert to the central command. So on the video screen, they give an alert. Maybe there is a fighting going on camera 36, one that you are not looking at the moment. So, but we forgot, of course, the public perception of this. We were very proud to present it on social media. We said, look, we have something totally new. It's privacy by design. And it will detect that something will happen or is happening on some camera. And then all hell broke loose because people are saying, well, it's a new tool for dictators. They will manage us. They will see whatever we do. It's a privacy issue. It is not, of course, because it's privacy by design. Everyone is blurred and reduced to a skeleton, and the algorithm is just seeing the skeleton. But of course, how to explain it to the people, that's a big one. So we underestimated this. We did present this, but maybe in the wrong way, and a lot of lessons learned for the future. We have a new program like this, a new project. Don't forget this. It's not because you are very happy with your project and you think it's, it will be the next new thing, that you can forget the people in the street. The first thing they see something and you wait too long to introduce it, and then you can have this problem, of course. We had also a drone program. We started with introducing a drone. We want to introduce this and use this in a very good way and a very nice way for the people. So we do search and rescue, traffic incident scene mapping, so we can fly over an accident, take a picture, and then map it or sketch it. We can do on-site photo stitching. We can fly over an area and automatically take pictures, and then at the end, on-site, we get a big map, high-definition map, to work further with. We did some photogrammetry, live video streaming. We tested everything we could test with Wi-Fi, 4G, 5G, Starlink, VMS integration. We integrated it in the video wall, and we got already a command and control vehicle, and we changed it to a sort of drone command and control vehicle. But again, public perception. We have some people who do the communication, but it went totally wrong, and people went to say the first time they saw the drone, well, again, first the AI and now the drone, so we are doomed. Everyone will be seen inside their building, where we will see everything. They will do very bad things with us. Also because there were some very not so good examples with drones and the Belgian police during COVID. Here in Brussels, they had a good idea about drones with speakers. So they flew in all kinds of parks to continuously tell the people they have to stay 1.5 meters between each other. So this was not a good idea at all. Okay, it was prime time in the news, and people were, they seen all the Black Mirror movies, and they say, well, you see, it's already there. So now in Meetjesland, they will also do the same thing. They have a new drone, they have a new fancy, expensive toy, and again, we got the same problem. So lessons learned, of course, perception and reality, again, was a problem. So we had one second chance now with the drone. We have a new project. They will place 40 drones in a box, 70 drones in a box in Belgium to start with, and they will end with 240 drones in a box. We are one of the first who want to implement it. So the idea is to place this kind of drone in a box, and we have an axis radius, and we just have to click on the map, and the box opens, the drone flies to the incident, and sends real-time information. So lessons learned from previous projects, we said let's go together with the fire department from the start and don't do it on our own. So we went to the fire department and they say, okay, that's a good thing. Do you want to put this box on your premises? No problem for us. So we immediately started with this project on our premises. So it will be installed, I think, next week. I think it's stuck somewhere. So small movie for this. So we have our second chance to bring this to the public, but this is the actual promotional movie from the company who builds the drones, and they use some kind of Black Mirror music, so that's not a good idea. And so volunteers, we had the catalog of solutions. We already saw a lot of interesting things there. We could we went to the chief of police to say, well, let's try something with volunteers in the future. And we already got a student, and the student built a server, a tracking server. Again, can be dangerous to name it something a tracking server, of course, but what it does, it tracks police dogs, the drones, and all the volunteers. So we want to make a connection between software for management volunteers and some hardware, because that's easier to show to the chief of police and the DIRCOM that we have something in place that can be used in case of emergency. So if we want to walk a line with volunteers, we can give them a free app. They can put it on or off themselves, and if it's on, we see them walk the line together with the search dogs, together with the drone, etc. So it's a project. I see I'm a little over time. So what things we learned during the project? A lot of good examples, a lot of information, a lot of things that we can take for ourselves. A lot of inspiration also. So this was a very nice track. We've seen a lot of interesting things in Romania and Norway and Holland, etc. So a lot of things to think about, and of course, certainly a lot of questions. What if? A lot of what if questions, questions who were not there before we entered this project. So it let people think about those situations and also integrate it with the working of a police unit. And that's it, I think. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Johan, for presenting those different activities and also be reflective about them and sharing some of the issues with them. We don't have much time. We have to move to the next the keynote. The next panel. But maybe there's one question and other questions, of course, during the breaks. And maybe somebody has one question to Johan before we move on. Also, for the people online, we are looking and monitoring the chat. So if you have questions during the next panel, etc., please use the chat. And thanks for joining. I forgot to mention that. All right, then I propose we move on and we come to a panel where we'll discuss the involvement of the populations in the exercises we conducted this past year. A quick note to the speakers, please be very careful to use the microphone close to the mouth so that also the people online can hear it correctly.
Okay, thank you. So welcome to the first panel. And just before we start, I wanted to ask you a question, because before with Matthieu, you said where you come from, so the city you live in. And now I would like to close your eyes and think about the two highest risks that are in your city. So if they pop immediately into your mind, or if you have to think about them, so just try to think what are the two risks that I'm most exposed in my city, in the city I live in now. And you can raise your hand when you are done. Okay. Then you will tell me if it was easy or not to think about the two of highest risks. And now I would like to ask you to raise your hand if you have an emergency plan already done with your family about these two risks. Okay. And so this is just one question. So it's interesting to see how we are all in this environment, like we are all talking about disaster management, but still maybe there is something that it's missing from information to action, because you all know the risk you are exposed to, but not all of us have an emergency plan with our family. And I'm included in this question, so I also don't have one, and that's why I wanted to know whether I'm the only one or if there is someone else apart from me. So, yes. We did similar questions in a survey we conducted together with Cittadinanza Attiva in Italy in April. The survey involved all the citizens in 818 citizens in Italy from all the Italian regions. And there as well, the findings were very similar, because 80% of the respondents knew that they were at high risk, medium to high risk of the occurrence of natural hazards. But still, only 35% knew first aid techniques, 11% had the necessary equipment to face an emergency, and 27% had been involved in a disaster management operation before. So we see that there is a gap between the perception of risk and the actual preparedness. So, yes. And this is a pity because, as you know, citizens are very important during emergencies. Citizens have a crucial role, and if they are not prepared, they cannot support crisis professionals, first responders in managing the emergency. Citizens are the first one on site, and they are the last one to leave. They have the local knowledge of the city where the emergency occurs. So if they have to, if they're well prepared, then they can share this knowledge with the first responders and the authorities. They have social relationships with the vulnerable people inside the community. And they can also support with the carrying out side activities. And you cannot read it, but sometimes they also have additional resources. But as we saw, there are many challenges. So this is not always easy to engage citizens during an emergency in these activities that I listed before, because there is a lack of regular trainings. So citizens are not prepared enough to face an emergency for themselves, so they cannot put their effort to support the first responders. There is a lack of knowledge, so in some cases, they don't know how to act, where to go, who to contact, and which organization can support them. Lack of basic equipment, as we said before. And this is really impossible to read, but I guess it's the legal and liability issues. So it's not easy to integrate them in an emergency response. So in Engage, we had 4 exercises where we tried to implement some solutions and to integrate citizens into the emergency, into the disaster sphere. And they are in Rome, in the Basque, in Romania, and in Trondheim. And today we have one representative from each validation exercise that will tell us how they engaged citizens in their exercise and how did they try to address some of these challenges. So I invite the first one, Marita. So Marita is the General Director of the Trondheim Red Cross, and she will tell us about the Trondheim exercise. Thank you.
Thank you. Trondheim Red Cross work is based on volunteers, and we are organized to ensure that we can react efficiently and quickly to those in need. Thank you, Matthieu. We have 800 volunteers and a staff of 18, and we live in a city with 213 inhabitants. Plus 30 students each year, because we are a capital of higher science. And now nothing is there. This is the city we live in. It's a lot of quick clay and poor soil conditions in Trondheim. And the higher the more red the dots are, the higher the risk. People in our city are somewhat aware of the risk, and the municipality is one of the few cities in Norway that are mapping and dealing with this kind of risks, making adjustments to ensure urban development is safe. Our goal in this project has been to, and still is, to inform the citizens of the risk of quick clay landslide. We've had campaigns in schools and also in social media and for the general public in Trondheim. Our goal is to encourage the citizens to be informed so they can be of assistance to themselves if something happens and know what to do, and also know how to help others and involve in the assistance of other people. We've used the knowledge platform and the catalog of solutions to test different solutions and are inspired by them in our work, such as the Be Ready caravan. Some of you in Romania saw how glad I was to see the caravan. And also, we've also used the public warning system to give information during a small-scale exercise in November. The Preparedness Guard is also one of the solutions in the catalog, and that is a Red Cross scheme that are an activity we started in 2020. It's a low threshold activity for citizens to be skilled and trained so they can be of assistance if something happens in their community. They can be easily reachable. They are on a list, so we can reach them quite easily. And the citizens are in that way informed and mobilized when something happens, and we can require them during emergency situation to carry out different tasks. And in these years we have tried this since 2020. We have seen that the Preparedness Guard has demonstrated their importance during events like a quick landslide in a populated area. Not only did they play an important role in delivering psychosocial first aid during a crisis, but also contributed to tasks related to the organization of the evacuation center. So our Preparedness Guard has not only been in the exercises, but we also used them during the earthquakes in Syria and Turkey, reassuring the youth that was worried about relatives and friends in the area. We've used them to support people after criminal incidents in the city. So we tested them also real life. This is the area that our exercises has been the area we have used in the exercises. And this red area is the particular danger of quick landslide. The Department of Civil Defense has said that if something happens, we will have a tsunami with a flooding of 12 meters high in the river, which will cause damage and also hinder the possibility to reach the hospitals, the police, and also the municipalities' headquarters, because they are all downtown. And if something happens like this, we will have 200 people killed and 500 people injured. And this area, this red area, 2,000 people are living there. And in total in Trondheim, we have 27,000 people living in areas with poor soil conditions. So this is quite a risk for the inhabitants, but the real danger is quite low. But even so, if something happens, the catastrophe will take a lot of lives. And now there should be yeah. We will show you a small film from the exercise we had in September, the validating exercise. We have had one small-scale exercise and also 2 tabletop exercises to prepare us for this one. And some of you participated also as markers. So we'll see the film now, I think. Hopefully. Yeah.
So today we are here, and I'm representing SINTEF, who coordinates the European project Engage. And this exercise is a collaboration with the Red Cross, who's really the leader behind the exercise. For us in the project, it's really a way to put together a lot of the different topics that we have investigated for the past 3 years. And see in a very concrete situation some of the ideas being tested. And for the Red Cross, very concretely, they are testing one of the solutions that we discuss in the project, which is called the Preparedness Guard, and testing how well this Preparedness Guard will handle a situation, in this case,
basically a group of evacuees arriving in an ad hoc evacuation center, and how well they will basically answer their different needs and how well they will inform them and keep them up to date and those kinds of things. So different kinds of challenges that they are confronted with in this interaction with the population which we are interested in the project.
Can we send in? Yep, then you're allowed to go in. Fine.
Trondheim kommune øver jo på evakuering sammen med andre aktører. Det er jo kjempeviktig for oss, for å kunne teste ut hva som faktisk fungerer og ikke fungerer. Politi, kommune, frivillige og ikke minst befolkningen har jo stort utbytte av å få testet hvordan man samvirker i denne type situasjoner.
Altså det som har vært viktig for oss i forhold til å være med på en øvelse sammen med Røde Kors, kommune, politi og så videre, det er jo at vi blir kjent. Fordi vi har en avtale på samme måte som Røde Kors har med kommunen. Og da bør vi jo på en måte kjenne hverandre. For jo bedre kjent vi er, jo lettere samarbeider vi når det gjelder.
I'm pretty happy about what we have managed to do, which is also to involve two local schools in this process, which is a great way also to involve kids and get them somewhat familiar with some of the disaster management discussions. And yeah, so there's a involvement of the community aspect, which is very nice, and I'm very happy about in this exercise.
Jeg skulle la som jeg har brukket ankelen. Jeg var bare ute og så snublet og sånn, og så datt jeg ned på bakken, og så fikk jeg hjelp ganske raskt. De tok meg ned på en sånn båre, og så spurte de om hvordan det gikk og hva som hadde skjedd, og så stabiliserte de foten og tok på ispose, og så tok de veldig godt vare på meg. Sånn. Ja, så det var jo lærerikt og sånn, jeg kan se hvordan de har det, for det er jo egentlig en ganske stressende situasjon. Men de klarer å ta det, eller de var veldig rolig og tok vare på meg, og kom ofte og spurte hvordan det gikk og sånn.
I dag har vi øvet på å evakuere et område og ta imot evakuerte. Og det som har vært hovedessensen for øvelsen, det er jo det samspillet med kommunen, Røde Kors og saniteten. Altså, politiets oppgave er å registrere dem som er evakuert og ha kontroll på dem, og det er å sjekke dem ut igjen, sånn at vi vet at nå er det bort fra farlige områder og i sikkerhet. Det er veldig masse lærdom i initialfasen, og sånn når vi planlegger en sånn øvelse. Det er masse ting som har dukket opp, og så ikke minst i en sånn øvelse som dette her. Det samspillet med de andre etatene det har vi aldri øvd på en sånn realistisk måte som det her før. Så det er kjempebra.
Denne øvelsen, Samvirke, har vært en fantastisk mulighet for oss til å få testet hvordan vår frivillige innsats kan være sammen med de profesjonelle, de som er i redningstjenesten ellers, og også opp imot kommunen og deres beredskap til evakuerings- og pårørendesenter. Vi har lært masse. Vi har mange gode læringspunkter vi skal ha med oss videre. Men jeg må jo si at jeg er fryktelig stolt over den innsatsen som så mange frivillige nå har lagt ned. Vi var rundt 70 frivillige i dag, som har gjort en kjempejobb her. Gitt oss masse læringspunkter, gitt oss mye vi kan jobbe videre med fremover, og ikke minst hvordan kan vi bli enda bedre aktør på denne biten her i beredskapsarbeidet med kommunen. Så det har vært kjempemoro. Tusen takk til alle som bidro, både fra frivillige og fra det profesjonelle apparatet. Det var kjekt. Yeah, Martina, you're there. This field exercise had a lot of people involved. We had 170 markers, mostly youth from local schools, but also elderly and people with disabilities and people who did not speak Norwegian. And some of you from the KeyCop especially were one of those. And thank you so much for your effort. You are still remembered in Trondheim. And also we had people from the officials and we had observers. So in total, we had 300 persons involved. This was one of the largest exercises in the region for years. And this exercise showed us a need to strengthen our communication between the police, the municipality, and the volunteers, and also to better clarify the roles and responsibility, as well as communicating with the citizens. And last but not least, to have a better system for the registration of the evacuees. In this exercise, we discovered that both the police and the municipality have an obligation by law to register persons, and that means you have two systems that needs to function. And also, the police tested a brand new system that they are planning to implement. I think that system needs a bit of adjustment. It took a really long time, and a lot of the markers were quite impatient. And we did a little bit of math and found out that if they had used the system in a real crisis, they had to use 48 hours to register every evacuee from the site. It would be impossible. So this was really, really good learning. And we saw the value of citizens engaging in this exercise as well. And we saw that they need to be informed and prepared, they need to be trained, and they need to be skilled. And exercises like this is important. This gives them the understanding of their effort and the importance of stepping up for your community. This shows the value of projects like Engage, and it shows the value of engaging citizens. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Marita. And now I call Manuela and Maya from the validation exercise in Italy, in Rome. Manuela Battisti, she's a project manager at Cittadinanza Attiva. Maya Battisti, she's project manager. And Manuela, she's an epidemiologist at ASL Roma 1. So thank you.
I start. Okay. Can I? Okay, thank you. There is the presentation. Thank you so much. And we will move some slide me and some slide Maya. Okay. No, sorry. No. Ah, the green, sorry. Okay. Sorry for confusion. Okay, we speak to you about our exercise, the problem from which we started deals with the heat wave prevention in our country, specifically in Rome, in Italy. We all know that the problem of heat waves is always worsening due to climate change, and considering that especially in the Mediterranean countries like Italy, it will be even more huge problem in the coming years. And what the international organizations such as the World Health Organization say is to be prepared by setting up a communication plan that needs to be effective and to inform all the population, but especially to protect the vulnerable ones, because we have good evidence now that heat waves affect more the most vulnerable, fragile people that are especially people with chronic diseases living alone and with low economic resources to adapt. So a good communication plan is a fundamental, and another fundamental is the response plan activated by the authorities. I work in the local health authority Rome 1 that manage the part of the regional heat prevention plan at the local level. The plan has the advantage to identify the vulnerable people in advance, and to because we know that from a public health perspective, vulnerable people is not able to. All vulnerable subjects are not able by themselves to ask for care, or to somebody can, but other not. So public health is fundamental concept require to proactive address intervention to these groups. And in this intervention, we have a platform which allow to share the vulnerable subject data with the workers, health workers who manage the surveillance. This plan is in place since 2005, but over time some criticalities emerge. In particular, the decline in adherence to the program, which is voluntary based on mainly on GPs, on family doctors, and since COVID also they are also district health workers are engaged. But there was a decline in awareness because heat waves are normal in our country. So people and also health workers have a lot of emergency, urgency in the normal health care, and they don't are aware of the risk, totally of the risk, and the possibility to prevent the health consequences thanks to the prevention program. And the other problem was the low awareness in the population. Vulnerable population often doesn't feel themselves as vulnerable, or is not aware about heat-related risk for their health. So the exercise with Cittadinanza Attiva, we plan this exercise to cope with these two criticalities, and we based the work on the catalog of solutions by screening solutions and identifying two most reliable for our case, which were interpreted in our realities. Because we have a plan already in place. So we don't start from the beginning. We have a plan already in place, and we have integrated the solutions in our reality. And the first solution was 30 Days, 30 Ways, which is a UK intervention, social media interventions, which is evidence-based and is provide social media campaign, massive social media campaign for 1 month to every day for a specific hazard, with using different ways of communication, and we followed its campaign and plan an awareness campaign in our local reality, and by defining a brochure, an information brochure for the vulnerable subjects, and the social media campaign. And the other solution, I will move to Maya, because it deal more with the work of volunteer.
Thank you, Manuela.
Yes, this solution is the way to engage citizens to be active part to face with heat wave awareness campaign. So we want to go beyond the normal, the traditional communication because its impact are quite limited. In the case of heat wave in Italy, there is an underestimation about the risk for the population, almost because the way to prevent this risk are simply tips, and the most of people are fed up about this advice and didn't pay attention. So was really important to engage volunteers so that in person communication activities was we can try to bring the communication, the prevention tips more closer to the citizen. So we start to engage our volunteers, and we select volunteers that already work on health issues, on health prevention, and most of them are already engaged in desk information in a hospital or other health units. So our volunteers start to speak with other volunteers of other organizations, and they involve them in our exercise. And also all health operators working in this hospital and so on. So in the 9th of June, we carry out this training event in collaboration with ASL, where we put together volunteers and health operators to speak about the problem of the heat waves and to try to merge the information of the two different stakeholders. And this was really appreciated from both the stakeholders, because the volunteers get very interesting information from the local operators that are engaging in manage the access to health units from people that is hit from the heat wave. So they can suggest what are the most important tips on prevention. At the same, from the point of view of the operators that understand the main problem to reach effectively the citizen. So at these preparatory activities follow the core activities of our exercise, which was the development of this information network, the tentative to bring the information, the awareness closer to the citizen. In this point that are signed in with a yellow star, we our volunteer went to the hospital, some hospital and some health unit, where they distributed the communication brochure that HASL prepared, and also sensitize local operator working there, so that they can also to spread information to other people. And in the red sign are there were other places that were very popular between people living all around. Are also pharmacies, Paris, or other place where people go, so that we sensitize the owner of the shop or the contact person working there, so they can spread information awareness about the heat waves and the local regional plan. There were several stakeholders. The main are the association of volunteers working with us, and the support of the local authorities in this part of Rome. Okay. The main outcome and result of this social action are the extension of a multi-stakeholder network that collaborate to carry out this awareness campaign, the capacity building on volunteers and health personnel, and the optimization of resources for the public body that benefit from this social action carried out from no-profit organization in collaboration with the local point. So I pass.
The last slide. Sorry, the last slide. Just to conclude, we think have a general idea that the contribution of volunteer was really can make the difference, because the perspective from our local health authority, we spoke with the director of the health district, and they were present at the training event, and they met volunteers, and really they appreciate the initiative, and they believe that the role of volunteer in make vulnerable people more aware about heat-related risk, and really can make the difference, because when they call, when the health worker call the elderly people, unfortunately, I don't know if COVID pandemic has worsened the problem, but the people is scared about the phone call, even if an authority declare the telephone. So if the volunteer reach to the people and explain and sensitize, and also about the prevention plan, we expect that can make an improvement even in the adherence of the program, that in the very end is able to protect the elderly from the adverse consequences of heat waves. So we have not the measure about the impact of the protection in terms of health impact, but we know that compare, for example, to the previous year, the number of elderly subjects that were protected during heat waves were higher. And also the medical staff joining the program was higher than the previous year. So also in a survey we conducted, both volunteer and health workers think that the elderly subjects can make more aware from the initiative we carried out, and also simple communication instruments such as an information brochure, even in 2023, seems to be an effective communication tool, combined with more social media campaign that acts in a different way, more indirect way. So we feel that are several positive outcomes from the exercise, and we very thank Engage Project for this opportunity, I think also from the Cittadinanza Attiva. Thank you for attention.
Thank you. And now it's time for the exercise in the Basque Country, so I call Leire. Leire is an industrial engineer at Tecnun, University of Navarra, and she will tell us more about this exercise.
So, good morning, everyone. So I am Leire, and this exercise was carried out in collaboration with the Ertzaintza, which is the Basque Police. Okay, so this, just to give some context of the exercise, this exercise is related to a cyber attack in a critical infrastructure, okay, which it was an energy company infrastructure, okay. And the thing is that in this case, we had some difficulties to involve citizens in the activities. So why? Because, as you may know, critical infrastructures are, by definition, very secure, okay? And it's difficult to access them, okay? So everything is like very secret in the context of critical infrastructure. So it was not easy for us to involve or to go into the details of the crisis, because I mean there were a lot of secure items. So the first thing, okay, so why cyber crimes? Okay, so we have seen that there has been an increase of the number of cyber crimes that have occurred in the last years. Okay. And basically, if we analyze these cyber crimes, we can see that there are different types of cyber crimes depending on the age, okay? So teenagers are more susceptible to cyberbullying and this kind of things, whereas young adults are more victims of online scams and this kind of things, okay? Cyber attacks also target critical infrastructures, okay, because as you know, critical infrastructures are the infrastructures that basically guarantee the well-being of the citizens, okay? So attacking one of them, it's, let's say, like a good venue for the terrorists if they want to make if they want to impact society, okay? Yes. So that's why this was the context of the validation exercise, okay? And this validation exercise was divided into 4 main steps, okay? First, we analyzed the scenario, okay? And the scenario was already set, more or less, okay? So as I told you, it was a cyber attack that will impact our critical infrastructures. And the aim is to study how the municipal and regional authorities are able to respond and recover from the event, emphasizing the involvement of the citizens, okay? Okay, so in this context, we defined 3 main targets that we wanted to improve through the exercise. The first one was to improve citizens' risk awareness towards cyber crimes and cyber attacks, okay? So citizens should be aware of these risks. Then second is to improve the communication towards society before and after the crisis. So everyone is aware of what is happening and they follow the instructions from the emergency services. And third, to improve the response and recovery capacity of all the involved stakeholders. So the government, in the Basque Country, we have a cybersecurity center, which is responsible for dealing with cyber attacks when they occur. Also emergency services such as the police, and finally the critical infrastructure itself, and also the citizens. So we went to the catalog of solutions that is developed or has been developed in the Engage project, and we selected these 2 solutions to implement. The first one is the social media campaign, and the second one is school awareness campaign. I have to say that in order to develop the social media campaign, we also look at the solution called 30 Days, 30 Ways, okay, which is a campaign that was carried out in the UK, and it was very successful. And finally, we implement them, but we also develop a tabletop exercise involving different stakeholders to just analyze this scenario and to also to work more in the second and third targets, okay? Because the solutions were very focused on fulfilling the first target, but the tabletop was more focused on fulfilling the second and the third targets. So before starting to implement the solutions and also the tabletop exercise, we needed to do some interviews with the experts in the cybersecurity area, okay? Because we needed to understand better what is the role of each agent when this kind of crisis occurs, and what is the potential involvement of the citizens in this kind of crisis, okay? Because as I told you at the beginning, everything around the critical infrastructure is very secure, okay? Even the police has a lot of difficulties to know or to access the critical infrastructures, okay? So we conducted a set of interviews with different profiles, cybersecurity experts, the members of the cybersecurity agency, the police, researchers working in this area, etc. So we could better understand the situation and what the potential involvement of the citizens is in this kind of crisis. Then we implemented the social media campaign and the school awareness campaigns. And finally, we developed a tabletop exercise involving all the different stakeholders and just corroborating the usefulness of the campaigns, and also more focused on the communication and the response capacities of the stakeholders. So the main insights that we got from the interviews were these, okay? So basically they told us that social engineering, like phishing, spear phishing, were the best, or let's say the most probable way of attacking critical infrastructures. And also they try to create this denial of service that through a botnet in order to collapse all the systems of the critical infrastructure. So this is the potential way, or the most probable ways to attack a critical infrastructure. And of course, if a critical infrastructure from a company, from an energy company is attacked, then this causes a blackout that affects negatively to the public, because, as you know, the energy creates cascading effects to many other critical infrastructures. So it's a really important critical infrastructure, okay? So in this scenario, a proper communication strategy, community engagement, so each of us, each members can help each other, okay? And leveraging the voluntary groups are necessary to properly deal with this situation, okay? And experts repeatedly stress the need of create awareness among the citizens so that they really know which are the risks, the potential risks, and they try to avoid them, okay? Then we implemented the two main solutions, okay? First, the school awareness campaigns, okay? So I couldn't show you any photo because we were not allowed to take photos, okay, during this campaign. But what we did was, the Ertzaintza has already this program in which they go to the schools and they teach about potential cyber risks. And what we added in the project is that we evaluated the effectiveness of these school awareness campaigns. So what we did was we launched a questionnaire before the campaign and after the campaign about the technical concepts that were taught in the campaign, okay? So we saw how the students were learning through the campaign, okay? And second, we developed the social media campaign based or inspired in 30 days, 30 ways, okay? So we, every day, this was in summer, every day, we launched a video with an explanation through social media channels explaining the different cyber risks that can affect a citizen and even a company, okay? So there was about how to create safe passwords, how to avoid phishing, how to avoid many items, okay? And regarding the results, in the first, in the school awareness campaign, as I told you, we did the campaign to 280 students, okay? All of them were above 12 years old, okay? And we launched a questionnaire before and after the campaign or the session, okay? And as you can see, in most of the questions, okay, we saw an increase, okay? So we can see that the students learned, okay, about the technical concepts that were taught during the session, okay? Okay, regarding the social media awareness campaigns, we have some indicators, okay? I'm not expert in social media, so I cannot make a personal evaluation of these indicators, but they told us that the communication manager from the Ertzaintza told us that they were very happy with the indicators that they got. So they thought that the campaign had had, let's say, good impact, okay, in the society. And finally, we developed a tabletop exercise, okay? So in this tabletop exercise, we included people from different areas. So there were emergency responders, okay, with different, let's say, responsibilities. When some were more focused on cyber risks, others were more focused on the relation with the citizens, etc. Then we managed to involve different profiles from a CI company in the energy sector, okay? So this also took part in the tabletop exercise. So from the critical infrastructure perspective, they could provide us the input, okay, about this kind of crisis. And finally, from the cybersecurity agency, 2 people join us, and also we had 2 representatives from the citizens, okay? So what we did here, we try to, as I told you, we try to basically we try to address the second and the third targets, which were the communication strategies and the response and recovery capacities, okay? So, no. So I think there are some slides lacking. Yeah, some slides are lacking here, I think. No? Okay, so yeah, there are some slides. I think I sent you maybe the wrong one. No? Okay, so just I can maybe explain you without any photo, but what we did in the tabletop exercise, we launched them an scenario, okay? So it was a phishing attack, attacking a CI in the energy sector, okay? And they had to address different challenges. The first one was, what was the immediate response from the CI and also from the emergency services. So in this case, they emphasize that the first thing that they need to know is, from the CI perspective, they need to understand what is happening, okay? Because sometimes they need to know what is happening and how the CI is getting affected. And from the emergency services point of view, the first thing that they do is they try to see how this will impact the citizen, okay? And they need to really gather the the urgent needs from the citizen, okay? Those in need of the electricity for living, for example, okay? So they need to identify that. Then regarding the communication strategies, they emphasize a lot that there should already be a communication strategy beforehand so that they know how they have to communicate with the society. And they emphasize that there should be periodical announcements, okay? I mean, you need to, every certain period, inform people about what is happening, but you need to be careful. You cannot provide information that is not already you need to give real information, because otherwise, if the information that is given is not true, then the society can start not trusting you, okay? And finally, they emphasize a lot the community engagement and also the social community cohesion, because they think that in this kind of situation, the society can help each other, okay? So if you know that, for example, in your neighborhood, there is someone who could be vulnerable, you can help them, and they trust a lot on these kind of things, okay? So these were basically the things that, and also at the end, we explained then the campaigns that we developed, and all of the people, they thought that the campaign was very interesting and really useful for this kind of crisis management. Yeah, so this is basically, yeah. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And we quickly go to George Manea, who is the advisory to the Secretary of State on Resilience and International Cooperation in Romania. So he will tell us about the exercise in Romania.
Hello everyone, bonjour à tous. Also hello to our fellow online audience. I'm glad to see you all also in Brussels, which is actually my home away home, because I'm living in Brussels. So during our involvement in the Engage project, we've been also organizing a validation exercise in Romania. But before going into the main aspect regarding the exercise, just a couple of words regarding the Department for Emergency Situations. I think some of you already know about our structure, how we organized, in what kind of activities we are engaged. But maybe the most important thing is the civil-military cooperation that we have in DSU, because this covers not only the firefighters and the paramedics, but also the emergency medical personnel, the public ambulances, mountain and underground rescue, but also rescue pilots. So it's really like an ecosystem that has been developed of 50,000 people that are engaged in different rescue activities. So from this point of view, I would say that we have a 360 degrees approach on everything that's happening in the country, in the region, but also at the international level, because we are also participating. I mean, we are mainly involved in daily emergencies. We are also involved in dealing with mass casualties, but also providing humanitarian assistance and being a lot involved in training and exercises. So our role in the Engage project was also to offer as much as we can, but also to learn, because it's a two-way street. So from this point of view, we were trying to focus as much as possible on the society resilience. So the baseline requirements for resilience building in Romania, but not only, because these are the baseline requirements for resilience at international level. So basically, there are 7 pillars that we are continuously focusing on. The first one is the continuity of government and critical services, the energy supplies, the uncontrolled movement of population, the access to food and water resources, resources, dealing with mass casualties, having civil communication systems and resilient transport systems. So from this point of view, we are also creating different interministerial groups in order to tackle all of these problems. But we also said that it's very good to work in close cooperation with civil society. So from this point of view, we started to also involve them more and more in our current activities and to get them involved in all the DSU awareness and communication instruments that we developed at the Department for Emergency Situations. So from this point of view here, we can look at some of them that have been developed and also shared with the Engage project. I'm not going to tackle all of them because we apparently we run out of the time, but maybe just to highlight the resource volunteer management app that is something very useful for synchronizing the resources that the emergency forces have in the emergency system and also the ones from the civil society organizations. So we are somehow building capacities together, working together, make them understand how the system should work, where are the gaps, where they can contribute, and support our emergency forces in order to have an homogeneous intervention on the ground. And once they get to be more and more involved and aware about all these communication instruments, then we can also involve them also in specific exercises, because there is no perfect emergency system, but it's always a matter of training and anticipating based on awareness on what could happen. So here you can see in short the scenario of the exercise that we proposed in Romania. It was also a tabletop, but very much focused on virtual and augmented reality. It has been a scenario based on 4 different events where we also tried to look at our domestic solutions that we proposed in the project in the Engage catalog of solutions, but also on the different other solutions proposed by the Engage consortium members, because this was the idea of the exercise, to see what we can take and what we can offer, because there is not one size fits all solution. It's always a matter of adaptability. So as you can see here, there have been 4 major events during the exercise: a road congestion, an illegal crossing of the state border, the needs for accommodation subsistence for about 5,000 people, and here it's also the involvement of the civil society organizations and what they could bring, and also the event number 4, the response from communities and civil society. If we go on the real life situation and we look at the war in Ukraine, considering that Romania shared the border with Ukraine and we have massive waves of migrants coming to Romania, the support of the civil society was really paramount from this point of view. So we are working together, because societal resilience can be achieved by involving civil society organizations, because somehow they are the ambassadors of emergency forces on the ground, on the territory, in different communities. So to build the societal resilience, it's not easy, because we always have to deal with the risk perception, with the different aspects related to responsibility of the people. It's always the discussion between the awareness and responsibility. It's also a matter of trusting the public authorities. It's also a matter of self-efficacy, self-efficiency, because sometimes people, they have to be in the front line and to take care of themselves in the first hours or even days before the emergency forces arrives. But it's also a matter of continuous preparedness, because in this way we can really try to change some things And maybe the most difficult thing to be changed is the behavior of the population. We've seen also during the pandemic how the population reacts in different scenarios. In Romania, one of the major risks is also earthquake. So we are trying to build this culture of behavior change, because sometimes people, they are aware of what they have to do, but when it comes to the real action, meaning the responsibility of doing things, here it's the point where we face challenges. So I will stop here, and of course, if you have questions, I would be very happy to be engaged and to discuss more in order to provide and share with you some answers. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I know that we have one question online. So.
Yes, so online we have a question from Dennis. It says, did you address the issue of education on disasters at school for children, or the issue of children as volunteers?
Okay, so maybe I will ask our panelists if someone wants to answer the question.
I can take it, because we worked on that together, actually. So we have done it to some degree. What we have done is to involve the Trondheim International School, and one class in particular, who came to visit the Trondheim Red Cross. We had basically a morning where we discussed disasters with them, where we discussed aspects of preparedness and the role of the Red Cross. Also, that was interesting to give them a sense of the different activities the Red Cross participates in. So we talked about that. One of the reasons why we did that was also because we had sort of signals from authorities, local authorities, that there's something scary about talking about disasters, and we wanted to check, can we talk about disasters with kids? Are they scared? And actually, we had the a very strong impression that it's quite the opposite. They're very eager to hear about that, and actually feel reassured by hearing that there are organizations that are in charge, and that there are things that they can do. And so it was very positive also to this involvement of schools is something that has been done for many years in different countries that are quite exposed, like Japan, for example, and this is known for being a very important mechanism to also reach a larger set of society through basically the kids bringing back those questions and those discussions at home and discussing with parents, and sometimes also being responsibilized or being in charge of, for example, elements of preparedness, like preparing the kit at home for in case there's a problem. So it's a great education tool. So we did it a little bit, and what we did also was to try to involve the same members of the same class in the exercise we had in Trondheim some months later, and so that was basically a first step. So what I hope is that this will be pursued in Trondheim with the Trondheim International School and others, and I know you have done that in the past as well. So yes, long answer to this very interesting question, I think. But I'd like to hear from the audience as well, from experiences along those lines, maybe, or questions.
Yeah, we ran a bit out of time, so we slightly changed the agenda, and there will be the coffee break after this. But if there is any question to the presentation of the panelists or to this first panel, you are very welcome to do it now.
Thanks. I'm Nathan. I run a project, sister project Links, on social media use. So it's nice to see in all of these different exercises that there was the idea of a social media campaign getting involved. So my question is, using this 30-day, 30-way campaign, did you target your communication messages at all? So I imagine if you're dealing with the elderly and heat waves, you can't just send out general social media campaigns. to reach them. So how did you do the targeted messaging? Thanks.
Thank you. To be honest, the social media campaign was not directed directly to the elderly vulnerable subjects. We have not targeted the message to them, but to the general population. We expect that the social media campaign reach people, younger people, that possibly is connected to vulnerable elderly in the family, or people caring elderly also. So possibly a younger segment of population that is connected to the elderly one, but not directed to the elderly themselves. But I agree that is a very good point, because I know that elderly population also is part in many social media, so is engaged in many social media, so is potential improvement in our social media campaign, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we've found that you can just use certain types of hashtags or certain types of targeting messages to specific organizations. It doesn't have to be to the elderly in general, but to intermediate actors that, I mean, I think you did some of that groundwork anyway, so targeting also those organizations through the messaging is also quite effective. But okay, it's interesting, really interesting work.
Thank you.
Thank you. So I guess we can close the panel, and thank you to all the panelists. And if you have any question, I mean, feel free to ask them during the coffee break. So thank you.